Alright guys, welcome back to Regeneration X and another episode of Tardis Talk, in which we'll be taking a look at episode number 8 of the Doctor Who spin-off class, entitled The Lost. This week we're seeing the Series 1 finale take place as the King of the Shadow King returned to Earth to exact his revenge, planning an invasion that would wipe out the entire planet just like they did Radea. Luckily though, our classmates were up to the challenge and managed to take down the King before he could lead the King to victory, but it wasn't without cost, as in doing so, we're seeing Charlie set up and use the Cabinet of Souls, losing the souls of all his people and also losing April, as in order to defeat the King, April had to sacrifice herself. So there was a lot that went on, but before we take a greater look at some of the points, Elle, what were your initial impressions of the episode? Was it a good finale?
It was definitely by far. I think it was easily my favourite episode as well. Like you said, there was so much going on, but it was done so brilliantly. I'd even argue that it was probably better than half of last season of Doctor Who. It was done so well. The acting was brilliant. They had some great musical scores and things, and just overall it felt really, really strong. And I just hope that episode alone will bring a second series, because if that's anything to go by of what these people can do, I definitely think it deserves it.
I agree with you 100%. I was really impressed with it, especially the second time that I watched it, because I think I took it in a lot more the second time, because there was so much that was actually going on the first time around. It was a lot to kind of grasp, but at the same time, it didn't feel as sort of overcrowded like the previous episodes, the one that we did mention, where there was so much going on. It didn't feel like there was that much going on, when really there was quite a lot going on. So I think I did take that in a lot the first time, but the second time actually watching it and really getting to understand it, I mean, it was crazy just how much went on. I mean, in 5 minutes, we'd lost Ram's dad, Tanya's mum, and then we had April's mum kind of being held hostage as well. So it was crazy how much was going on, but I think it flowed a lot better this time around, and actually really enjoyed this. I think, like you said, this is probably my favourite episode of the season.
Speaking of the deaths and things as well, it kind of proves that this does get away with a lot more than Doctor Who, because if this was Doctor Who, those family members would probably stay until those characters stayed, but in this, they were killing off anyone they could, and it even looked like they were going to kill off Tanya's entire family. So it was literally no holds barred, and it just goes to show with even just a tiny higher rating, what they can get away with and what they can do.
Well, it's crazy to think how different it is to Doctor Who, because in Doctor Who, you'd always kind of expect the Doctor to find some way to save those kind of characters and save the families. Where in class, because it is so dark, it's nobody's safe. Anyone could actually die at any point. And I think when we started seeing the episode and we're seeing Ram's dad die, that kind of hit us as a big thing, because I was like, Ram's dad seems to be quite a big character. He's big in Ram's life, and he plays quite a, not a big role in the show, but in terms of the parents, he seemed to be the sort of biggest character. So I was really shocked when he died. And then, speaking of shock, I absolutely crapped myself when Tanya's mum died. I didn't see that coming. It felt like some kind of jump scare. I just wasn't expecting it.
It just came out of nowhere, and even watching it back, I didn't jump again because I was on my seat waiting for it. But it was just done so split second, and it was kind of a shame, because I noticed in the episode that her mum had kind of come around to her having friends and things, and being a bit more of a cool parent, and then it's oh, she's dead. And it's definitely something that feels a lot more final, like you say in this. In Doctor Who, it's oh, well, maybe they'll come back, or there'll be something along the line where they can come back or be saved from death. But in this, it felt a lot more final, and you could kind of almost feel a tiny bit of grief. And obviously we know that Dorothy died later on, and that was one where it kind of oh, actually, did you really need to kill her off?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think some of these were kind of question. Did that person really need to die? So I think there's a few characters, like some of the parents, Dorothea, that could have actually stayed around and actually had a good point in the show, as opposed to being killed off so early and not really living out to the potential. So maybe they're gone for good, or like we're seeing at the end of it, so we've got a huge twist where someone that we thought was gone actually come back to life. So we're seeing April kind of reincarnated as the King, the Shadow Kid. So I did not see this coming whatsoever. I was kind of bemused by this.
Yeah.
I really didn't know what to make of it. I think I was just sat there in shock thinking, what's going on? How? So what was your take on this? How do you think this come about? Did you see it coming?
I definitely didn't see it coming. I think I was in complete and utter shock. Like, the Shadow King sat up and I was like, okay, what's going on? And then obviously when he spoke and it was April's voice, it was like, okay, I think I was kind of like in like a state of shock but laughter. But it wasn't comical and it wasn't done stupidly. It was, I thought it was kind of done really well. And the only kind of thing is, if it doesn't get renewed, it's going to be one of those things like in history where it's like, we'll never know how it came about and what could happen. So I just hope and pray to God that we do get a second series to kind of see what they do and where they go with it.
Yeah, it'd be a bit bizarre if it kind of just ends there and we don't kind of get any follow-on from that. I would say hate that. I need to know what actually happened for it. Do you have any kind of theory? Because to be completely honest, I don't get how this could come about. I'm guessing it's because we're seeing the soul from the Cabinet of Souls. Maybe, I don't know if it actually struck the king though. It seemed to be heading for Ram in April. So I don't get how that could then have veered off and actually made this come about. What was your take on it? Do you have some kind of theory? Can you offer up anything?
Well, I've always got some sort of like wacky theory.
You always have.
Originally, I had no idea, but then when I watched it back later today, Charlie had this whole thing about he always thought that the souls had been reborn, so maybe that the soul's gone inside April because she kind of like sacrificed herself to save everyone. Maybe that soul's been reborn in the body of the Shadow King because it missed or something, and maybe that's going to make April part human, part Shadow King, part Rodan. It wouldn't be the strangest thing in Doctor Who, so I don't know, maybe they're going to go with that.
It wouldn't be the strangest, I'll give you that. The only thing I think is kind of weird is if it is the soul that's getting reborn, then surely it would have sort of the memories, the voice of the person that's being reborn. I'm kind of confused how it's got April's, unless maybe if she died in the vicinity of the cabinet, could her soul have been in there? Could that have been reborn? I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there.
I think this is what I kind of love, especially with the show like this. We've got so many questions and so many little answers that we do want a second series and we want to see like how it plays out and things. One thing like I will say is that I wasn't per se bored of the Shadow King, but I was starting getting to the point where like leave them alone for a bit. We've seen more than enough of them. But kind of like by the end of the episode I was kind of glad that they did that so much that it gives them a really strong, brilliant episode, and it makes you wonder, will we ever see them again? Because now the planet's been destroyed and they've seemingly been like wiped out. Will we ever see them again? Because I think it would kind of be a shame. It's kind of like their version of the Dalek and things. Yeah. And I've gone from really not wanting to see them to kind of what would happen now, because it was a really, really brilliant episode and they only added to it.
Well, that's the thing, I think, with Doctor Who. Whenever a sort of species gets killed off and it's supposed to be final, there always seems to be something that kind of brings them back. Like, I'm talking completely about the Daleks here. So I think there is a case where in the future we will actually see them come back and they will probably be the recurring sort of villain of the series of Class. But I think for the meantime, I think they're pretty much done. The only thing I would say is because the king is technically still alive, or at least his body is, it does give them some means to maybe play about with it and have him come back at a later date. If there may be some kind of way to separate April's soul and put it back in her body, and then maybe he comes back. I don't know.
We'll just go like all Once Upon a Time, split the body in three. We'll have a human, a Rodan, and a Shadow King.
Well, there you go.
In one.
They've already split the heart, haven't they?
Yeah.
So maybe that's the route that they're going down. Maybe they've been watching Once Upon a Time. So you mentioned the Shadow King. Talking about them sort of moving away from Doctor Who and getting rid of them to move on to someone else. One of the big surprises at the end of the episode was the fact that we got the reveal of the Weeping Angels. Now this really took us by surprise because I did not see this coming at all in the series. I haven't seen any kind of hints. I haven't noticed any angels. Have you seen anything coming that kind of, led into this? Or was it a complete shock when you seen them appear?
No, it totally took me by surprise. And I think that was one of my favourite bits of the episode. I absolutely loved it. Because I'd read some teasers about there was going to be something that turns up or someone. And it was something that the producer and thing had denied that it was going to be in the series. So I was thinking, oh God, is it going to be Clara, it's Hill and things? And then when it turned out it was the Weeping Angel, I don't know, I for what it was, I think in my head I probably would have thought, oh, I wanted Clara. But just the way it was done and the kind of the promise of things that might happen and things, I think is absolutely brilliant. And it almost kind of feels scary because you don't know what they're capable of and what they want.
Well, that's the thing. We literally have no idea of what they've got planned. And the fact that they're working with the governors, it's not really something that we've seen properly before in Doctor Who. We've never seen the angels actually working with humans or with any kind of species. So it's kind of like, what do the angels get from working with them? And what do they get from the angels? Because we don't actually know if they're human. They could be any kind of species. But say that the governors are human, if they're bringing the angels into, well, to Earth, how is that going to play out? If the angels are there to invade, then they're also humans. So what do they get out of it? Do they get a position of power? Are they going to be running this angel-human Earth? I don't get how you would have the two working together, because we've always seen the angels out on their own. And I just find it a bit bizarre as to think, you know, what could possibly happen with the two of them working together, what they're leading to, and what's their rival?
Yeah, I think that's another case. If there's so many questions, so many little answers, that it's not done really badly. If anything, it's done brilliantly, and it just makes you want to see more. And just seeing them kind of like interact with the angel and going on about their beliefs and what they think is coming and things, it kind of felt like some sort of cult, but it wasn't too far out there, and it felt really good. And just it made the angel seem kind of scary again, because you know something's coming that's connected to them. And what might it be? I know originally I thought was the arrival something to do with Quill, because we know she's pregnant, and there was a lot of hints throughout the episode that her baby isn't fully Quilled, like about Quills usually have like a litter of children. She's only got one. She usually would have lost her strength by now and things. So we don't know the species of what her child will be. Maybe that'll have some sort of connection to the Weeping Angels and things, and maybe that's the arrival that they're waiting for. There's literally so much we don't know that it kind of really bugs me that we don't know if there's a season 2.
Well, that's the thing. I think all in all, the episode has done an amazing job of being a finale, because it's done exactly what you want a season finale to do, and it's got us asking all these different questions. And just like a finale should, we don't have the answers, so it's got all ready to tune in for season 2. But will there be a season 2? I think it looks promising, because did you not mention BBC One are going to be actually showing Class next year?
Yeah, come January, they're going to start airing it on, I think it was a Monday at 11:15, which is kind of late, but obviously given the things that are in it. But hopefully that can bring a new group of audience, because not everyone's going to have online, and just the fact that it's going to be on TV alone surely will open to people maybe getting in from work on students and things like that. So hopefully people can get involved in it, because I really don't think you do need to be a fan of Doctor Who to enjoy it. I think I will say that it reminded me a lot of Buffy in this episode, especially there was a few scenes. So I dare say that for all it is in the Doctor Who universe, anyone could really get into it.
Well, I think that's the thing though, like, because it's now on BBC One, it kind of opens it up to so many different people. Because being an online show and being Doctor Who, it's kind of a select group that it's kind of aimed at. And I think the majority of the people that are going to watch it straight away are the people that's, you know, Doctor Who fans, and they've been waiting for it. They're going to rush out and watch it. Whereas your other people are kind of like the people that's browsing iPlayer and they're like, oh, I'll give this a go. Whereas I think if it's on BBC One, it's actually on TV, you've got much more chance of just catching it as a new casual viewer, because you're flicking through the channels, it's late on, you see something on, you're like, oh, I'll leave this on, this should be interesting. So I think it's going to be good in that sense. I think it'll bring to a much bigger audience. And in terms of how it's done, speaking for myself, I think it's done really well, and I think there's definitely got to be a season 2. The way that they've wrote it out, I think they've planned ahead to at least go through season 2, maybe like further than that, because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
I don't see how they can end it at this point. Surely the BBC have to renew it.
I definitely, and like you said, I enjoyed some of the episodes much more than I enjoyed Doctor Who last season. I think it's been the perfect bridge. It's almost a shame that it happened so late in the year, because I kind of think if it had been more in the centre of the year, I think we would have got even more enjoyment out of it, and it would have perfectly fit that void.
It really would have. It's a shame that it took so long, because we were waiting for it for so long in the year, and then it finally come. And because it's only 8 episodes, it seemed to go over so fast. And it's like, if it was earlier in the year, it kind of fills that void, and you've then got a little bit of a wait till Christmas. But now it feels like we've got class, then we've got a little tiny break till Christmas, and then we've got to wait longer again for Doctor Who. So I wish it was early in the year, but at the same time, regardless, I'm glad they took the time and really invested in it and put all this effort in. And I think the extra time that they have took, it's actually paid off. And I think because of that, it's been an amazing first season.
I definitely, and I definitely think invested is kind of like the perfect word for class. They invested in kind of like these little plots going forward, and then in this last episode we kind of got like characters and things coming greatly to light. Like Tanya, I thought Tanya, I know I've loved Quill from the start, but Tanya was like kind of the standout star yet again, and she even had like her own like doctor monologue of why should she save everyone else when her dad's died, her mum's died, and they're going after her brother and things. And even Charlie, I wasn't Charlie's biggest fan, but there was that epic moment where he's destroying all the Shadow Kin and things, and just everything over the course of 8 episodes, it was done so brilliantly, even though sometimes it was slow. It just all came to a head, and it was really great television, I thought.
It really was. So I think as a whole, the season, it's just been an absolutely amazing debut season. I think you've done an absolutely fantastic job of just, establishing the characters, giving them the backstory, making them care for them, and really pulling them in. It's no easy feat when you think there's only 8 episodes and you've got to get so much in there. We've got so many characters, pretty much like 8 people like on screen anyway. So giving each of them a story, the parents, everyone else, they've done an amazing job. And to get all this fitted in with the finale, have the Shadowkin, everyone else in there, I think it's done an amazing job. It's really been a lot more than I was actually expecting when it was first announced.
Yeah, I definitely got so much more out of it and so much more invested than I ever thought I would. I kind of thought, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed Sarah Jane Adventures and things, but I wasn't as hooked, or say, kind of like I was with Doctor Who. But with this, I kind of like really got in with it, and I wanted to figure things out and kind of like theorize with what was going to happen. And it's something I've kind of missed not having Doctor Who. So it was the brilliant like replacement, and just the acting and everything was so good that I really do hope we get another series.
I hope so. I think there has to be another season, so I'm going to be holding out for that. I guess we've kind of give like our look at the season as a whole, but we do have one more point that we're going to cover, and that is something that we actually mentioned before, and that is Dorothea. What do you think's going on here? Did you expect to see her die? Because this took me as quite a big surprise. I feel as though she's been a bigger character, and like we said earlier on, she's someone that I think could have actually gone on as opposed to ending her story there. I think there's a lot more to tell because there seems to be more to the character. I know she is working with the governors, but to me, I don't know if she's maybe out on her own because we had little lines in some of the other episodes. In the previous episode, when she gave them the gun, the words that she kind of used where she says she's been told to tell them this, and it was kind of like a trick at the end when we're seeing the gun sort of firing the opposite way. I don't know if she's maybe good and she's working with the governors, but she's not technically on the same side as them. That was kind of my thought. She's kind of like an inside person trying to find out what's going on and then maybe take them down, because she did actually seem to care for the group. And like she said in this episode, she would have helped them without Charlie actually pulling the gun on her. So I think there's a lot more to her story. And I'm going to throw this theory out there. Do you think it is the end of Dorothea, or could she come back into this? Because I've got a little feeling that we could maybe get the Doctor's granddaughter, Susan, actually come back into this. And because she's a Time Lord, she can change appearance. So maybe she is Dorothea, and she's not actually dead. She can just regenerate, and her story can go on.
See, I like really hate to like send it crashing down, but I really don't think it is that.
No way, you're going to shoot us down.
See, I was really surprised like how I felt really good when she died. I'm not sure why. I thought she was a really good character. She had some great like one-liners and things, and you could almost, like you said, you could see that conflict within her, like doing things for the governors and then kind of doing the right thing and helping the group. And I don't know, it really did surprise me when she died and just how gutted I was. But I kind of think for it to work and things, I do think she does need to stay dead to kind of show like how ruthless the governors are how ruthless they are and how they will need to be taken down by the group and things next season if there is a season. And I don't get me wrong, I'd love to have her back, but I do think it's kind of final given what we've seen throughout the series and people have died and they've never come back. I would say that is the last we'll see of her. Don't get me wrong, I'd like to be some like crazy explanation like you say, but I don't know, I almost feel that if it was going to be something to do with Susan, I think we'd see it in Doctor Who first.
Do you think so? Yeah, I kind of agree, I guess, in a way. I'm probably reluctant to, because I put my theory out there and you've shot it down. But I guess it does make sense to have Susan actually come back in Doctor Who. But I don't know, I think it'd be quite a cool thing. The only thing that kind of made us question it was the fact that we're seeing her lying there dead, and generally, I know there is like other cases where this hasn't been the case, but usually when a weeping angel, I wouldn't even say kills someone, generally when they touch them, they'll send them back in time and then feed off their time energy. So I kind of found it weird that the angel didn't actually do that with her, and instead it just killed her and left her lying there. So that was kind of the reason why I thought maybe she isn't dead. They've all got her back turned. Why doesn't she just regenerate, leg it out of there?
See, I think that even the fact that how they murdered her and things and not feeding off the time energy, I think that alone made them even more menacing because usually that is what they do and it's only small cases where they do murder someone. So it was kind of nice to see them be brutal and not knowing what they want and why did they feel the need to kill her off. Maybe she could have just been fired or maybe wiped her memory or something, but to go ahead and kill her just because things didn't work out the way they wanted, it just made it even better and things.
Yeah, it's a strange one though, but it's done its job. It's got us question it. It's got me question it, at least. You're just shooting it down, but I don't know, maybe there's something to it. I'll hold hope.
Well, I'll shoot your theory down and then I'll raise my own theory.
Oh, have you got your own theory?
Well, not a theory per se, but when he originally watched the episode, when the new, I don't even know what he's called because we didn't even get a name, but there was like the main speaker of the governors. I really recognised him and it was really bugging me. And then when I watched it back, I realised straight away who it was, and it was an actor from Sarah Jane Adventures, and he had this whole thing where he was like,
is that who he's from?
Yeah, and he was this whole servant of time and things, and obviously because Elizabeth Sladen died and things, we never got that full arc, but he was kind of like how Dorothy was, where he was helping the group and things, yet we didn't really know too much about him and he was almost mysterious. So who knows, maybe that'll transpire into this and that might turn into something, because we know that he could open tears in time and things and kind of like teleport people and send them places, but he was someone who couldn't go back in time and things himself. So maybe that's going to come into it and be another chapter of that. I'd love it to be, because I did like Sarah Jane Adventures, but obviously people come and go in Doctor Who all the time and end up in Torchwood, and then Doctor Who's totally different people, but hey-ha.
Well, it's possible that it could just be the actor recast, but I'm not going to do what you did and shoot the theory down. I'm going to say that that's actually a good theory. Maybe that is the case. I did recognise him from something, but I didn't know what he was from. So I think now you've said that, I'm kind of, tempted to go back and watch the Sarah Jane Adventures just to see what his kind of role was in there and see if it gives any kind of hints or theories as to what we could see. But I like the fact that you've brought that out. That's a really good point. And
it's definitely a lot more logical than yours.
Yes, it is. But that's nothing new, is it?
No comment.
Yeah, no comment. So that's our thoughts on the season finale of Class. But what did you at home make of it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, along with your theories on April, how she's still alive, what's going to happen with Cole's baby, what the Angel's up to, what the Governor's up to, and whether you think Dorothea is really dead. Maybe she's alive. So let us know your thoughts via the comments or on Twitter at Tardis_Talk. We look forward to hearing your thoughts, but we're going to leave you with our quote of the week. Until next time.
Skilled out.
She's gone! Why is everyone looking at me like that?